Welcome back to Flexbone 101. Today we're going to cover a topic that I've had a few requests for, and that is play action passing concepts. So I, as a coach, am not a passing guru. I'm not an expert. I'm a really big fan of having a few select plays for certain situations and getting really, really good at them. So going to go through a few passing concepts. So, first is if you're doing a play action pass, that play action part is pretty important. So, you want your setup for your play to look like your run plays that you're running. So, for example, you can make your plays look like midline, you can make your plays look like inside veer, you can make it look like your quarterback keeping on inside veer, and you can use rocket toss. So those are four really basic options for your play action. And then it's just a concept of trying to figure out who is doing what. So when I am in the box, when I'm calling plays, there are three main guys that I look for on any defense. And that's going to be the cornerback, the outside backer, and the free safety. Because based on what those three guys are doing, that's what's going to open up your passing game to what the defense gives you. So, for example, if you notice that your free safety that you're going against is flying down every time your quarterback reverse pivots for rocket toss, well, then you're going to choose a passing combination or a route combination that takes advantage of that right over the middle of the field. So, I have drawn up a base cover 3 defense. So right now this is a 3-5. I drew a cover 3A because not everyone is a defensive coach who understands what that means. So 3 being you've got the 2 cornerbacks and the free safety dropping back into deep thirds, the outside backers taking the flats, and the 3 backers distributed across the middle. I did this for the other reason is that if you're facing a 7-man box, you should be able to run the ball very effectively. So if one of those backers, for example, drops back to become a second safety, you should be pounding the ball very hard. Also, this is important because how these zones are distributed and set up sets up how different route combinations are going to work. So, for example, my first play that I want to show you is a simple post-post, and I have these all drawn to the left-hand side. Obviously, depending on your play calls, you can draw them to the right. But for post-post, also I generally call them from the outside in. But I'm going to flip that for right now and just show you the inside post first. So I tell that A-back to run right once he gets past the linebackers, right in front of the free safety, so that he hopefully picks up that post and stays with it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to run a second post, and ideally that cornerback is going to think he has help at about the hash mark, but really that free safety is going with the first post, so it opens up a big window for your quarterback to get it to him. It's always a pretty big play. Next, after you've run that for a couple times, so that attacks the middle of the field, now if you want to attack more of the flat, still running the post with the outside guy, but then ideally, the cornerback turns and goes with the post, and then you run an out underneath. And the hope there being that your A-back can outrun the outside backer to the flat, and it becomes a big play. Now, after you've run that a few times, it's time for my most feared passing combination as a coach, because for some reason, whenever I see it, my defense gives up a big play. And that's the post wheel. So it's set up to look just like post out. So post out, post out, post out. Everyone gets really comfortable with those rolls. And then all of a sudden you send that out up the field, and he's streaking untouched down the sideline. So that's a really good one to keep in your back pocket. Next is hitch flag. This is a one-read play for your quarterback, and it's all based on this corner. So if the cornerback comes down on the hitch, your flag's going to be wide open. If he drops back to cover the flag, then the hitch is going to be wide open. Now we have hitch seams. This is probably the only route that I have drawn up on both sides because that's what makes it dangerous. If you have watched the four verticals passing video, you'll know that four verticals is a very real threat in this offense, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Is we're going to send the two outside guys on hitches to keep the cornerbacks from dropping, and then we're going to force this free safety to essentially have to choose which one of these routes he wants to cover. Have your quarterback throw it to the opposite one. Ideally, I like to run this with a midline fake because then your quarterback's eyes are still going right downfield and you don't have to worry about him having to turn and read it. Next, I don't have a great name for this concept other than it's the idea that a lot of times backs, after they get a fake, get lost in the sense that linebackers no longer pay attention to them. So for example, I have this drawn up where our B-back is faking inside veer and then clearing out to the flat. And just for fun, I've got my two receivers running slants to the inside to hopefully keep everyone in so that that B-back is going to be wide open in the flat. It's just a good concept. It's something good to have in your back pocket if you notice that the defense is not respecting your backs after they're fake. And lastly is a flood concept. So this is more of an air raid term, but a flood is very simple to explain and understand. If you've got your cornerback and your running back, or excuse me, cornerback and linebacker, your cornerback's coming up or back and your linebacker's running over. You have two zones on this side. So to flood those zones, we're going to send three guys into those two and figure out which guy's open. So for example, I'm going to send the outside receiver on a fade. I'm going to send my A-back on an intermediate flag. And then I'm going to do just like I said, I'm going to fake that rocket toss and send that A-back into the flat. So you have three routes that are trying to be covered by two guys, and it's a simple matter of finding the open man. Now, when it comes to a lot of these plays, when it comes to blocking or backside, you'll notice here I have this set up where the B-back is blocking backside on this pass because that's exactly what he'd do on rocket toss. So our backfield action still looks exactly the same. Now, when it comes to the backside receiver, if he's a big power receiver, maybe he draws a double team, maybe he's a focus for the defense. Some coaches may want to just send him on a fade and try to get him one-on-one isolated with that corner. A lot more often, my recommendation would be to run him on a simple drag. So your quarterback's eyes are going to be facing to the left or whichever play side that you're faking and running the route combination. So on the backside, a simple drag right behind the linebackers, kind of getting lost right in between here to be a safety valve, especially if you notice a lot of those backers are coming up hard on your play action. That drag route's a really nice emergency throw if your quarterback gets in trouble. So those are some of my favorite passing concepts. I'd love to have you comment and tell me some of yours. Again, I really stress, keep it easy, keep it simple. You don't need 500 pass plays. You probably just need 5 or 6 depending on the situation. Because frankly, if the run isn't working, it's going to be hard to win the game by passing. So at that point, you're already at a disadvantage. So I'd love to hear from you. You guys will be happy to know I've got the next set of videos already being worked on. So hopefully it shouldn't take as long before I've got the next ones out. And have a great rest of your day.